Hi folks, guess what? Ugh! Can you guess what's in here? Yeah, you're right, box of books. This just arrived this afternoon. It's from a hospice charity shop that sells on eBay. I find that the charity shops that sell on eBay are some of the best places to buy books because they'll often bundle together books are in a particular genre or by a particular author, and they're generally very cheap. This box, I think, is meant to contain 32 books, and even with postage, probably only comes out to just over £1 a book. So I couldn't say no. I know for a fact that there are some duplicates in here which I'll have to compare with my other copies, and which will then be, one of them will be passed on. But even so, the money goes to a good cause. So what can you do? So let's have a look what's in here. All right, we start off with a non-fiction book, science fiction related though, and this is Science Fiction: The 100 Best Novels by David Pringle. Now I've actually got this. It's one of the books I bought probably 80s or early 90s. The book came out in 85. It's a nice little book. Each of the 100 novels gets 2 or 3 pages. It's basically post-war novels. So it goes from 1984 by George Orwell, from 1949, through to William Gibson's Neuromancer in 1984, and takes in, 100 classic novels. It's a good little starter book for anybody who wants to know what some of the best novels are and which ones to read. I'd recommend it. So this one will definitely be being passed on. What have we next? I should have said that basically that one excluded. I think all of these are anthologies, and that was another reason why I bought the box. I love my anthologies. So first up we have The Traps of Time, edited by Michael Moorcock. It's a Penguin science fiction. And it comes from, bear with me, 1979. It's a 1979 reprint with works by Brian Aldiss, J.G. Ballard, Thomas M. Dish, Roger Zelazny. They're all, obviously, as you can tell from the title, they're all to do with time travel. And the final story is by Alfred Jarry, How to Construct a Time Machine. That's one I'm going to have to read carefully, because who wouldn't want a time machine? Actually, I wouldn't mind a machine that just stopped time, so I could just suspend time and, except for myself, and read all the books I have to read. Next, right, Impulse, number 1, the magazine from March 1966. It's not in brilliant condition, I'm afraid. So I don't know whether I'll keep this. It's just the number 1 that makes me think I should. From Abbey Garage, Avenue Road, Torquay. With stories by Aldiss, Poul Anderson, J.G. Ballard, James Blish, Harry Harrison, Jack Vance, Keith Roberts, and a cover, quite a striking cover. We should have been the full page, by Judith Ann Lawrence. Oh, and there's some writing inside. TK, January 1987. T. King, 1990 December. Fair. Snow on the Moors. Snowstorm, Midlands North. JK, 96 October. Rebecca at school. Relly at college. All okay, life drifting by. Who keeps a little diary in one of their magazines? It's a shame it's not in brilliant condition. I'll have to think about what I'm going to do with that one. This one I already own, so I'll compare it with my copy and pass one on. And this is The Best of Sci-Fi 17 by times Infinity. So obviously 17 stories, edited by Groff Conklin. Acceptable state. It's a Mayflower Dell book from 1964. It's quite an early anthology with, oh, there's the contents. Stories by Asimov, Ray Bradbury, E.M. Forster. The Machine Stops, probably his most famous science fiction story, and a Hawkwind concept album. Frank Herbert, Rudyard Kipling, Frederick Pohl, Theodore Sturgeon, William Tenn, among others. So yeah, that one will be finding a new homes. Now this was one of the big reasons to get this bundle of books. I'm collecting the new writings in SF Anthology Series, and I was missing 3 books, number 1, number 7, and the final one, number 30. And guess what's in here? Number 1 and number 7. So I'm down to just needing the last one, number 30, which is said to be the hardest one to find. They come in about 3 different liveries. There's one that's actually better than this. It's more, I'm not too keen on the liveries on these ones, but they'll do. They could be in better condition. They're sort of not bad, but they'll do as reading copies until I can find something better. Both edited by John Carnell from, when was the first one? First one was 65, number 7, 66. Oh, they must have been put them out at quite a rate. They all feature usually a lot of writers I've never heard of. Though the first one does have Brian Aldiss, who seems to be in every anthology. And the second one has stories by James White, John Rankin, William Temple, and Keith Roberts. So I was really pleased to get these. So just need number 30 to complete the set. Next. Best SF Stories from New Worlds magazine, number 6, edited by Michael Moorcock. This one's in pretty good condition, at least the spine's perfect. From Panther. Not sure how many of these done. I think there was 8 in total, but don't quote me on that. This is from, I think, 1970. Feature stories by Ballard, Priest, M. John Harrison, and Moorcock himself. Pleased to get that. And we have number 8, which I think is the last one. But unfortunately, this one's not in great condition. It's creased. Looks like a sticker's been removed. Creasing on the back. and the spine. When was this one? Number 8. This is from 1974, with stories again by Ballard, Harlan Ellison, M. John Harrison, and Barrington Bailey, among others. I'll have to think about this one, whether I keep this. Like I said, I usually like to my books in better condition, but again, maybe keep it as a reading copy. Mind you, God knows when it'll get read. So far, so good. Oh, the next one's in perfect condition. Beyond Tomorrow. Look at that. Doesn't look like it's even been read. There's some staining on the textbook, but you find that quite a bit, but I don't mind that. From Read and Return, exchangeable at half price, from Exeter. Edited by Lee Harding. This is from 1977 from New England Library. Stories by Damon Knight, Ursula Gwynn, Philip K. Dick, James Blish, Roger Zelazny, Cord Wayner Smith, Robert Silverberg, Brian Aldiss, Paul Anderson, Gordon Dixon, and J.G. Ballard. Stellar lineup. Excellent. Pleased to get that one. Next. 3 books in a particular anthology series, a long-running one as far as I know. Now, I might have 1 or 2 of these ones, I'm not sure, but these are in very good condition. Definitely haven't got this one. This is World's Best Science Fiction, first series, edited by Donald A. Wollheim and Terry Carr. It's in nice condition. From what year was this celebrating? 1965. So the stories are all from 1964. With stories by Ben Bover, William Temple, John Brunner, Philip K. Dick, Thomas M. Dish, and Fritz Leiber. So that's a definite keeper. Now the next 2 I'll have to check my list to see which I've got, and that's World's Best Science Fiction Series 2, or second series, and 4th series. Again, edited by Wollheim and Terry Carr. Number 2's from 66, so obviously celebrates 65, with works by Arthur C. Clarke, Ron Goulart, Larry Niven, Verna Vinge, Clifford Simak, Harlan Ellison, with Repent Harlequin Said the TikTok Man, which is in so many anthologies. Lynn Carter, Uncollected Works, intriguing. R.A. Lafferty, and again another finishes off with Fritz Leiber. So that might be passed on, depending on whether I've already got it or not. I've got a feeling that one I have. I'm not so sure about the 4th series one, which is from 68. And you've got Samuel Delaney, Colin Capp, R.A. Lafferty again, Isaac Asimov, Robert Silverberg, Thomas M. Dish, Roger Zelazny, Harlan Ellison. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Again, one of his most famous stories. Keith Roberts, another Lafferty, Larry Niven, Brian Aldiss again, D.G. Compton. But again, these ones are in very good condition. Right. Very pleased to get this. This is the Science Fiction Hall of Fame, Volume 4, Nebula Winners from 1970 to 1974, edited by Terry Carr, in really nice condition. Now, I've got volume 1 and 2A and 2B, which I bought back in the 80s or 90s. I never knew it had gone any further, to be fair. So I didn't know there was a volume 4 and presumably a volume 3, unless they've retitled 2A and 2B as 2 and 3. I don't know. I'll have to try and find out. But these are excellent stories. Well, they're all Nebula Award winners, so they're bound to be, or they should be good. Oh, you get Fritz Leiber's Ill Met in Lankmar. He's Sword and Sorcery, the first one of Fard and the Grey Mouser. You get Theodore Sturgeon, Paul Anderson, Robert Silverberg, Arthur C. Clarke, another Paul Anderson, Joanna Russ, Gene Wolfe with The Death of Dr. Ireland, Fonda McIntyre, James Tiptree Jr., Robert Silverberg, Eklund and Benford, Ursula K. Le Guin. So, good selection. Really pleased to get that one. This one I've seen around, but I've never had. This is Lambda 1 and Other Stories, selected by John Carnell, the Penguin Anthology from Read and Return, Exeter, bought on 26th of the 10th, 78. This is from 1977, was a reprint with stories by Colin Capp with the title story Lambda 1. The rest, there's a Michael Moorcock and Philip E. High and other writers which I am not aware of. 8 classic tales from the pages of New World science fiction. So this comes from New Worlds as well. In decent enough nick. Bit of creasing in the front, but the spine's generally okay. Right, A Century of Great Short Science Fiction Novels, edited by Damon Knight. Mayflower from Mayflower Dell. Bit of creasing, but otherwise this one's pretty nice. And you get The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Robert Louis Stevenson tale starts it off. Get a tale by Karel Capek. Wasn't he the guy that wrote the play that the word robot came from? You get Robert Heinlein, T.L. Sherrod, who I've never heard, and Richard McKenna. That's quite good. Nice one to have. Though I have an edition of the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde anyway. And this one's from 1968. One that isn't an anthology or a short story collection. Shock 3, 13 Tales of Terror by Richard Matheson. Matheson's an excellent writer. It's a bit of creasing, so it could be better condition. There's a crease on the front. I think I've got 1 or 2 in this Shock series. I'm not sure how many there were. I think there were only 3. But the 1 or 2 I've got somewhere are a different livery. I think they must be later reprints. This looks fairly early. Again, from Read and Return in Exeter. I think these must have all come from one collection. By Corgi. And it's from 1967. Matheson's a superb writer. One I do have, so again will be passed on, is World's Best SF #1 by Walheim and Carr again. This time Sphere Books. Decent enough condition, not too bad. Bit of curvature, but otherwise pretty decent. Yeah, I've already got this one. Kind of see. It's from 1971 with stories by Samuel R. Delaney, Ari Lafferty, Isaac Asimov, The Billiard Ball, which was in one of these other ones. Robert Silverberg, Thomas M. Dish, Roger Zelazny, Harlan Ellison. I have no mouth and I must scream. God knows how many books I've got with that included. Great storybook. Ron Goulart, Keith Roberts, Mother Lafferty, Larry Niven, Brian Aldiss. Again, excellent anthology. But that one will be going. Right. Stories of the Future. Constellations. Edited by Malcolm Edwards, who I've never heard of. Another Penguin. Seems to be a lot of Penguin books in this box. Decent condition. Obviously all to do with space travel. And guess what? It's another one from Read and Return in Exeter. 1983 it was published, with stories by Bob Shaw, Fritz Leiber, Philip K. Dick with Beyond Lies the Wub, one I have read, Gary Kilworth, Vonda McIntyre, Kurt Vonnegut Jr., Harry Harrison, Jerome Bixby with It's a Good Life. Did he ever write anything else? That's the only story by his I ever see. J.G. Ballard, Robert Sheckley, Arthur C. Clarke. So, again, great selection of authors there. Love the cover on this one. Connoisseurs Science Fiction. Again from Penguin. Who did the cover? Bob Fowke? Fowke. Excellent. In pretty decent condition, this one. Edited by Tom Boardman. From Read and Return. 1976 reprint. It was originally published in 1964. So you get Alfred Bester, Frederick Pohl, Kurt Vonnegut, Theodore Sturgeon, Jack Finney, J.G. Ballard, Isaac Asimov, Eric Frank Russell, and one of my favourite writers, Frederick Brown. Nobody ever talks about Frederick Brown. I love his science fiction and I love his crime novels as well. One of my favourite authors. Well, next we have two I've got as well. So I told you there are a few duplicates in here. And they're Penguin books and they're both edited by Brian Aldiss. We've got Penguin Science Fiction and yet more Penguin Science Fiction. There was one in between just called More Penguin Science Fiction, I think, as well. I already own these ones. So this is from 1962, the first one. You get Eric Frank Russell, Steinbeck, A Short Story of Mankind, Clifford Simak, Brian Aldiss again, Bertram Chandler, Walter M. Miller with Command Performance, Isaac Asimov's Nightfall, and J.G. Ballard, among others. And in the yet more Penguin Science Fiction, this one's in not such good condition. But, and we've got Mr. King's, or Mrs. King's, or Ms. King's diary in here. All it seems to be is signatures. Weird. This one's from 1966, and you've got Arthur C. Clarke, Walter Miller Jr., Damon Knight, C.M. Cornbluth, Bertram Chandler, William Tenn, John Brunner, James Blish, and A.E. Van Vogt. And this is one that I've got, as again, I told you, quite a lot of duplicates. This one is another one I bought back in the 80s and 90s and still have got. And this is the Penguin Science Fiction Omnibus, edited by Brian Aldiss. I didn't realise. Right. This is the 3 volumes Penguin Science Fiction, more Penguin Science Fiction, and yet more Penguin Science Fiction, published in 1 volume back in 73, though this is an 84 reprint. So it includes everything, I think, that was in those other 3 volumes. Never realised that, to be honest. Just clicked that it was from Penguin, edited by Brian Aldiss, and it said Omnibus. Still, nice cover by Tom Stimson. I'll keep all 4 books, but this can go. Right, continuing on. Oh, like the cover on this one, this is Final Stage, the ultimate science fiction collection of science fiction anthology. Oh, don't need the rest then, do I? This is the ultimate, edited by Edward L. Furman and Barry N. Maltzberg. Nice condition. Who's the cover by? David Pelham. Like that one. Oh, getting a saucy wink from a robotic woman. That's from Read and Return again. And it's from 1975. With stories by Paul Anderson, Aldiss, Asimov, Dinar Koontz, Harlan Ellison. No, not the same as the other 2. Harry Harrison, Silverberg, and Maltzberg himself. And James Tiptree Jr. and Philip K. Dick. They all each stories under a different subject matter. So you get First Contact, the exploration of space, immortality, inner space, robots and androids, strange children, future sex. There's 2 stories for sex, space opera, alternate universes, the uncontrolled machine, after the Holocaust, and time travel. Oh, that promises to be a good anthology. Still a few to go. And we have the Post Reader of Fantasy and Science Fiction. The SCP Reader of Fantasy and Science Fiction by Corgi Books. There are 20 evocative, imaginative stories of the shadow worlds of yesterday and tomorrow, selected from the pages of the Saturday Evening Post by its editors. So from Corgi. From 1966. What do we have in here? Oh, we have The Green Hills of Earth by Robert Heinlein. We have stories, quite a lot of authors I'm not aware of. Get Ward Moore, Philip Wiley, Stephen Vincent Benet. But after that, there's quite a lot I've never heard of. Could be very interesting. Another duplicate. From Pan Science Fiction, we have Anticipations, edited by Christopher Priest. Speculative science fiction by 8 of its modern masters: Aldis, Ballard, Dish, Harrison, Priest, Shaw, Sheckley, and Watson. Yeah, I picked this up recently. I think I got this from the Gently Used Book Club. Last month or the month before. So again, that will be passed on. Oh, this looks nice. An Old Panther, The Fantastic Universe Omnibus, Imagination Unlimited, edited by Hans Stefan Sanderson. I like that cover. Beware, every year more and more people, both young and old, are falling victims of a dangerous addiction, which once acquired can last a lifetime. Science fiction. Tell you what, the collecting of the science fiction is definitely an addiction. What we got? This is from a reprint from 1963, originally printed in 1960. So we get Asimov with First Law, robot story. Clark, Avram Davison, the excellent Robert Bloch, Harlan Ellison, different story. Bertram Chandler, Elsbrag de Camp, Robert Silverberg, and Harry Harrison, among others. Oh, like that. Don't think it did say who the cover was by, did it? Unfortunately not. And right, I think another long-running series, The Best of Sci-Fi. Sorry, the Outlaw Bookseller. 9th annual SF, edited by Judith Merrill. She edited quite a lot of these. It's in good condition, but the spine's very sun-faded, but otherwise it's pretty good. And this is from 1967. It was originally copyrighted in 1964. So all the stories are from 1963. You get William Tenn, Fred Saberhagen, Alfred Bester, Lloyd Biggle Jr., Fritz Leiber, Richard Matheson, Charles Beaumont, the excellent Charles Beaumont, who wrote quite a number of stories for Twilight Zone. Frederick Brown, the excellent Frederick Brown, Ben Bova, Hal Clement, E.C. Tubb, Cordwainer Smith. I think I've got a couple in this series, but not this one. So I'm pleased to have that. And the last 4 here are very big books. We have the Mammoth Book of Short Science Fiction Novels, presented by Isaac Asimov, complete and unabridged. 13 novels included in here, including works by Asimov, John W. Campbell Jr. with Who Goes There, the story that was made into The Thing, Lester Del Rey, Gordon R. Dixon, David Drake, Phyllis Eisenstein, Philip Jose Farmer, John Jakes, Donald Kinsbury, Barry Longyear, Enemy Mine. Is that the story that became the film, I wonder? I think so. A human and a Dracon in the middle of a war are stranded and must rely on each other for survival. It's a good film. Larry Niven, Frederick Pohl, and Robert Silverberg from Robinson Publishing. This must be edited by Asimov, Greenberg, and War. Originally published as Baker's Dozen, 13 short science fiction novels in the US. This is from 1986. So plenty of reading to go out there. How many pages? 574 pages. As if I hadn't got enough to go at. But not satisfied with that, we have the Mammoth Book of Short Fantasy Novels. 13 novels yet again, from Paul Anderson, Susie McKee-Charnas, Avram Davidson, Sir H. Rider Haggard, Robert E. Howard with his story Red Nails, the Conan the Barbarian story, John Jakes, Fritz Leiber with Ill Met in Langmar again, Michael Moorcock with The Lands Beyond the World, an Elric story, Janet Morris, Andre Norton, Thomas Burnett Swan, Jack Vance, and Roger Zelazny. This will probably be from 86 as well, I would imagine. Yep, from 86. Again, published in the US as Baker's Dozen, 13 short fantasy novels. And another one from Robinson Publishing, another Mammoth book. This is the Mammoth Book of Best New Science Fiction, edited by Gardner Dozois. I'm never certain how to pronounce his name, I'm afraid. Probably from about the same period again, 1987. We have stories by Lucius Shepard, Orson Scott Card, Damon Knight, Silverberg, Tanith Lee, Michael Swanwick, Greg Bear, Bruce Sterling, Tim Powers, excellent, Connie Willis, Harry Turtledove, Kim Stanley Robinson, and William Gibson. The stories come from 1986. So 3 massive volumes there. And the final one's not a small one either, really. And this is Best SF of the Year, edited by Terry Carr from Gollancz. So I don't know if it's part of the other series. Best SF of the Year 16, according to the inner page. From 1987. And we get Kim Stanley Robinson, Scott Card, Silverberg, Lucius Shepard, Ian Watson, Harry Turtledove, and John Varley, among others. So yeah, and that one's in good condition, is it? So that's the whole haul. There's a few I'll be getting rid of because they're duplicates, but as I said, the money's gone to a good cause, and the box itself was just over £1 a book. Can't argue. Check out the charity shop sellers on eBay. You can get some really good deals. Anyway, I will hopefully see you soon, probably with yet another book haul. Take care, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Bye.